I'm Skylar. I'll talk about the organizational structure of Goldman Sachs. So to start off, we have this organizational chart right here showing the four biggest different sectors of the organization. We have business intelligence, firm-wide strategy, conflict resolution, and legal. These branches are split up in order to maintain a system of checks and balances within the organization and to minimize conflicts of interest. They each specialize within their own part of the business, making sure that they all do their jobs as best as they can, as efficiently as they can through division of labor. This is really important for Goldman Sachs because they have a huge business. They have a lot of size, a lot of scale. So they need to maintain many different sectors that can all specialize in their own part of the business. So looking first at the business intelligence group, this group is very broad. They have a high level of authority and they don't do anything specific, but they look over the entire business in general. They maintain a watchful eye over everybody, make sure everything is done correctly. And they typically, because of their high level of authority, typically have the last say with a lot of things. The next group is conflict resolution. This group specializes in safeguarding client information. They have a lot of very high profile clients at Goldman Sachs. They manage a lot of money as well. So if something were to go wrong, they would, it looked really bad for the reputation. So this group definitely tries to maintain that reputation. They also allow the company to structure and restructure as needed. This allows the employees to spend less time in conflict and more time towards their actual jobs. This group is also really cool because it has three different regions across the world, one in the Americas, one in Europe and Africa, and then one in Asia. The next one is firm-wide strategy. This one is a very, very big and high profitable group. This specializes in transactions, acquisitions, investments, and joint ventures. This one's mostly made up of senior executives as well. A lot of the people within this group are very, very high level. They're also very technical, analytical, and quantitative. This group makes a lot of the money for the business, so they're very, very sought after and looked after. The legal group gives a lot of advice for the rest of the firm. This is probably the most important group within the entire organization. They maintain a very high level of authority as well. They look over everything that goes on within the business. Goldman Sachs can't handle too many lawsuits at once because they would look back their reputation. So the legal group tries really hard to make sure they can deflect as many lawsuits as possible before they even really happen. They look a lot into risk evaluation and they keep the financial well-being of the entire firm under control. This group is made up of many, many different subgroups as well. To name a few, there's customer management, employment law, investment banking law, intellectual property, contract law, and many, many more. As we go further into this new era of technology and intellectual property, this legal group becomes much more important moving forward. Looking over employee expectations, Goldman Sachs talks a lot in their annual reports about teamwork and expectations. Quoting the annual report saying, Goldman Sachs succeeds because it attracts people of very high caliber, people who want to work together to achieve something greater than they could achieve on their own. They know that teamwork is very, very important. They know that multiple minds come up with better ideas than just one mind. So they really, really put this to the test within their business. One thing they do to keep productivity high is performance reviews. We personally didn't think these were a great idea because in theory, they sound good. You can get rid of the people that aren't working hard enough or aren't doing the best, aren't pulling their own weight. But in reality, a lot of these reviews are just a way to get rid of employees that aren't wanted at the firm for other reasons. There's a lot of abuse with these reports, a lot of sexism, a lot of racism going on within these reports. So they don't look the best in terms of reflecting who's really doing a good job. It's more of just who do they want to get rid of within the organization. Employee benefits. So Goldman Sachs knows that not only a happy employee is valuable, but a healthy employee is too. There's a lot of gyms set up across the entire business all over the world, keeping their employees healthy so that they can perform at a higher degree. And then obviously they also have a lot of benefits like vacation time, dental, things like that to keep their employees happy and healthy so they can perform very highly. As for employee achievements, Goldman Sachs has very, very impressive employees. Their sales per employee was $1.4 million and their net income per employee was $500,000. These numbers are really, really impressive and they really show the quality of each employee that works at Goldman Sachs. And although these numbers are so high, there's still a lot of room for improvement because they're ranked 186 globally for net income per employee. And then last but not least, the business hierarchy. So they follow a very, very strict top-down hierarchy at Goldman Sachs. This means that it's a very linear form of reporting and keeping up with your work. This ensures a very low volatility with the quality of work. We know what's going to happen. It's very predictable. Each employee is given a task and they perform it to the best they can. And that takes us over to reporting. Once these tasks are performed, they report them over to their superiors. Maintaining very clear lines of authority provides each employee with a very clear role within the organization, allows people to know what they're supposed to be doing and when it's supposed to be done. All of these things are great in order to maintain a very high level of the business, make a lot of money. But the one downside is a lot of creativity is suppressed. A lot of businesses very much thrive off their employees being creative, taking initiative, but Goldman Sachs doesn't really promote that too much. Uh, this does hurt them in some senses. There's not many new ideas coming in, but Goldman Sachs knows that with the amount of money they're making and dealing with, they don't want anything too crazy going on. And now we're going to talk about the operating plan of Goldman Sachs.